the Moms Out podcast, where real mom talk connects with real life topics like business and entrepreneurship, and also travel, because we love travel. If you are in the ghetto, that is the first few years of motherhood, just know you're not alone. It is the ghetto. And there are so many of us also navigating these scary ass streets, figuring out whether there's a better street on the other side of the corner that we're about to turn. You're not alone. We're here for you.
You are not alone. So today we will be talking about, we're going to be talking about creating your own mom brand and how, creating your own business, and how, for us, how important it is for us, and how it is why, the reason why we really started it. The reason behind everything. But yeah, so one of the things for me is when I was pregnant and, had Flynn, I wanted to work. I wanted to have, we started creating courses back then, actually, me and my husband, and we wanted to have our own business. But it was all about events, which is not something it's something that we were working on at the time, but it was not something that we were passionate about, and we didn't know much about anything. Anyway, but yeah, so we knew that we wanted to work, have our own business. We knew we wanted to work from home because, we were creating a family, and it was post-pandemic. No, it was actually still pandemic, and, we were actually at home more, and we realized, it is nice, and having your own schedule and, all of this. And for me was, I had Flynn, and then I was like, do I go back to work? Do I want to stay here? What do I want to do? Do I want to be a stay-at-home mom? And I did try the stay-at-home mom thing and staying just, being a mom. And I think I enjoyed that, for the first few months, it was really nice. But then after a while, it's just that thing of now what? And finding your purpose. And I felt like that was one of the hardest things, I think, for me in motherhood, was like I felt like I was meant to be a mother, but then, like, now that I am, why do I feel like there's something else missing? Like, how is this not enough, right? Like, how
like, is this the entirety of what I'm supposed to be like? Is there more?
Exactly,
why do I feel like there's more? Yeah
exactly. Yeah. And it was just that was a very hard truth to grasp at the time. But then, like, I realized, I don't have to have a 9 to 5, I don't have to go back to that life of work to actually, still do something besides motherhood and, having money and doing something for me rather than doing something for someone else, which, family and stuff.
Right.
So yeah.
I think, also, like, we've talked about this before, but, like, I feel like the beginning stages, seasons of motherhood, they're so intertwined with your baby that you start feeling like all you are is this baby and taking care of this baby. And then as they start growing up a little bit more and they start having interest and they start doing things, and you start realizing that you just can't be at the park 4 hours every day, like you start actually wanting to do more. And the reason we're so passionate about a mom brand is because we're in a very peculiar time in history where, this is unforeseen. Before, our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunts, like our older friends, they all had to either choose a career or have a business that demanded them being there 24/7, crazy amounts of hours, crazy amounts of times to make a living. And today we're seeing a much more mobile world, a much more, social world, even if it's online. And I think that's opening a lot of doors for moms to be able to create businesses that don't entail, having 25 employees and going, 80 hours without seeing your family during the week, or working outside of the house. And I think a lot of people don't know that this is something they can do. But for both of us, it was the case where we decided, okay, we want to stay home. We want to be with our kids. It's not that we want to stay home, because it's not like we're sitting at home every day. But I think we both crave that time freedom. And I think for most parents, especially in the first 5 years of your child's life, you still want to do most of your day or your activities either with your kids or revolving around a life that, your kids can be a part of. And if you're working 50, 60, 70 hour weeks, then you're left out feeling like, well, Like, now what? Like, my kid is 6. How did this happen? I blinked and what? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
huh, and, but you still want to make money. You still want to have a purpose. You still want to not just be a mom. And I mean, again, if that's not you, if you're the mom that finds all the purpose in being at home for 10 years and that's okay, I mean, fantastic. But if you're like us and you feel like there has to be more, or you want to provide, or maybe you don't have the financial stability from your partner or your relationship or your life where you can just be home. And because that was another thing for me. I think for me, it was, we had already built something for so long. I've been making, like, it's always been important for me to make money. Like, I come from a very, very, very humble background. My parents, we come from Cuba. We had no human rights. My dad, like, swam across an ocean to give me freedom. It destroyed my family for 8 years to leave the country. I saw my parents, both engineers, like, start from cleaning bathrooms and working at, like, clerks just to be able to, like, make ends meet, to get food on the table. Like, it was so important for them that we had careers and a future where we wouldn't have to worry about money or stability or whatever, right? And so for me, it was always so important to have that part set, to be able to make money, to not depend on someone else, to not have an outside circumstance come over and just destroy everything I've been working for. And so when I had a baby, I found myself in the situation of like, well, I want to do this. I want to be all day with my baby, but I don't want to depend on someone else. Like, what if my husband dies? So like, okay, I have crazy anxiety. So I always have these crazy thoughts, but like, like, that's my thought. Like, what if somebody dies, like my husband dies, and who's going to make money? Or what if like we break up? What if we break up and then like I'm alone and I have to figure it out from zero? Or not even that. Like, I've always made really decent money in my 20s. And so it was like, I want to, like, how can I be 30 and make less money than when I was 20? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
And
to me, it was the idea of being dependent. Like, it was more like being dependent on someone else. It's weird. It's weird.
Having to justify money for, like, because one thing is asking for money for the household. And but by the way, so whoever's listening to this who does not know our husbands, both our husbands are super team players, like, like, super down. The money they spend it on us, basically. Like, like, this is not like your typical case of like, you have to beg money to buy, an extra bottle of juice.
It's just like, this is us being the weird one.
It's us being the weirdos. Like, I think my husband would love nothing more than to be the provider. He would love to just, like, be the one who makes money, and I'm just sitting at home waiting for him in a sexy outfit when he comes home or something. But the reality is that I have no interest in waiting for him in a sexy outfit when he comes home. I would much rather be running a company, and making a difference, so that when he comes home, we can sit down and talk
in
about
my granny pants.
In my leak-proof underwear, because I'm pregnant. And God damn it, how many times does one have to pee herself? By the way, if anybody here listening is pregnant and you're peeing yourself when you cough, when you sneeze, when you think about life, or when you're just walking around, you're not alone. It's happening to me too. So I thought I had to not disturb.
It's happened to me many times.
Yeah. Anyway, so we just want to say that starting a mom brand is something that a lot of people don't know you can do. And it's so simple, because all it is creating a company, if you will, from the ground up around your life. And you don't have to have it figured out. You don't have to do it like anything like anybody else is doing. But if you think about today's creator economy online, you have moms that are making upwards of 6 figures, if not more, a year out of literally just like making pancakes in the morning with their kids, So it's all about connection and being able to leverage that connection you have with other humans into something profitable. And when you create a mom brand, not only are you able to have different sources of revenue and the freedom to do it from anywhere, as long as you have internet access, but you also have the ability to morph your company as you go along. And I think for a lot of us, it's really essential, because as we navigate the first years of motherhood, we have no idea where we're going or what we're doing or where we're headed or what we want to do. Like, one day you want to do crafts, the next day you want to do cleaning products, the next day you're passionate about birthing, the next, and as you grow into your journey, your mom brand can grow with you. And that's the beauty of it. If you start a laundromat and tomorrow you want to sell sandwiches, it's very unlikely you're going to open a sandwich shop instead of a laundromat. You're going to have to change businesses. If you are a lawyer before you have kids, but now you're really into baby clothing, you have to go ahead and learn and start and do everything again in fashion. But if you have your own mom brand that revolves around who you are and your own journey, your audience grows with you. Like, if at the beginning you're interested in, let's say, baby-led weaning, And then you have a 3-year-old, you can go into crafts, or you can go into like excursions outside, or you can go into homemaking, or you can go into baking with your kid, or you can go into mom fashion, or as your body changes, like there's it's endless. It's literally endless. You can start a mom brand about accepting your postpartum body and go all the way into like finding the fitness level that you like 5 years later, or however, like it's literally endless. You can make money out of almost anything online today. And we both found this to be incredibly relieving. We're not suggesting you can just go and post what you like and you're going to become a millionaire. We are not millionaires. We work,
it's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that we,
right.
It does not happen overnight. Like so many people do claim that it does, which is really weird. Because I do try all of their tricks, but we still didn't wake up millionaires. What's happening?
No, it hasn't happened yet. We will let you know. We will let you know when it happens.
That night.
Yes. It's also, I feel like that's such a toxic culture as well, but I think it also comes from that place of fear. I think so many of us, with the same thing with the body positivity thing, it's like a lot of us go into shaming ourselves because we've been taught that we need to look a certain way after birth. I mean, we've been taught that we should look a certain way forever. As women, we're told how we should look like from the second we're born. I was talking to my sister the other day and she was telling me how like her daughter, my niece, demanded that she wore this like ball gown and they were just going to like the grocery store. And I laughed because my daughter's the same way. She will put on a ball gown with glitter to just like roam around the house. And my sister said something to me, which I 100% agree with, but I had never like thought of it that way. She said, very soon, society will start telling her how she needs to dress according to where she's going or who she is or what she's doing. Like, as long as she can have the freedom to wear whatever the hell she wants, I'm going to let her. And I thought how interesting that from such an early age, we're always told what box to fit into, what mold to go into, like how to dress, how to be, what our bodies should look like, how developed you should be at this age, when you should be having sex, when you should be having kids, if you're eating too much, if you're in college, you gain weight. After college, when you start working, you get stressed and you lose weight. And then watch out, don't lose too much weight because you stop looking like a woman. And if you're too skinny, you are not feminine enough. And if you're too bulky, then and then
it's always like, it's always one or the other. There's never like the okay in between. Like you're never in the okay in between for some reason.
There is never you're perfect the way you are, through all of our lives. I feel like there is something to be said about our bodies and what we need to be doing with it. And it's never about the energy we can have or how great we could feel or how agile we could be or how strong we could be. Like my daughter comes to me and she goes, look, mama, I did this where like she gets her own little chair and like puts it in the bathroom and turns the light on herself. She goes like, like if you're not seeing the podcast, like if you're listening, she does the whole like, like strong arms sort of thing. And
the Popeye.
And I find that, Popeye, like, But I think that's so awesome because she's taking pride and ownership in what she's capable of doing, of what her body's capable of doing, not attached to what she looks like. And I feel like as we grow older, we lose that and we start just, okay, I have a 6-pack, so I'm strong, even though you can barely walk a block. You know what I mean? And it's like, why do we make that switch? And I think when you become a parent, there's so much of that comes back. I remember when I first had Alaska and she started moving, like crawling, I was like, I need to get strong. She's going to want to run everywhere. And I don't have the energy to lift her and move and chase her. And, and I told that to a friend. She was like, I've never heard a mom say that they need to get strong. It's always, I need to lose weight. I need to get back. And I was like, no, I mean, I'm also thinking that I need to do all those things, but it had just like this click of strong. And then I started like trying to switch being strong with just feeling like, like I just want to feel good. It's not that I want to look good. Of course you do want to look good. Like, I think every woman misses the part of her that was the way it was before birth, right? But I feel like there's such a road to navigate. And if all you're looking at is how you need to look like, you're missing so much.
But the problem is the amount of, like, I remember after, like, it's once I gave birth, the amount of adverts I got flooded with, like, get the baby weight back or, get your body back and all of this. And it's just such a culture thing that or you do get your body back or you don't. And it's like, there's no in between. There's no, accepting your new body. There's no, your body just gave birth. It's just like you bounce back or you don't.
Yeah. And if you're accepting, that means that you're just like, you're fat and
Let go.
ugly and you're okay with it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
You
let
let
go.
go and
You
you're
just
just
let
like,
go of
this is the,
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to me. And by the way, if any new mom is listening to this and you're in this stage, either worried because you're giving birth soon and you've gained 1,000,000 pounds, or you're postpartum and you're not shedding things off. So I'm going to tell you a little tale. So when I first gave birth, um I had a friend, acquaintance, who told me that she actually gained weight after birth because of breastfeeding. And I had only heard of moms losing weight because of breastfeeding. I had only heard that if you breastfeed, you lose weight. So I was like, oh,
Same.
this person's just negative. She's just trying to scare me. And I brushed it off. After I gave birth, I actually gained weight for breastfeeding. And I don't think the weight gain was because of breastfeeding. I think it was because, honestly, you're so hungry. And at 3 a.m, who's going to come and make you a plate of healthy food? So you're just eating whatever you find, cookies, ice cream, whatever. You're just hungry and tired and underslept. And when your body, by the way, when your body is underslept and your hormones are out of whack, which is every single woman postpartum, you cannot lose weight unless you starve yourself. And if you're starving yourself and doing something crazy like a detox diet or like fasting, all of that is leaking into your milk, which is producing a bigger problem, which then creates more hormonal problems, more problems with your baby. So it's a catch-22, right? But nobody talks about this. And I remember then I went
just
into
talk
this
about
thing of
getting your belly back.
Right. Just get that six-pack back. And I remember a friend of mine was like, well, think about it. It takes 10 months for your body to adjust to be able to birth a baby. Why would it take any less than that for you to go back to anything we're resembling before? So then I was like, okay, fine. I'm just rushing. Oh my God, I need to give myself some time. And then, the 9-month mark came.
9 months come.
And I was like, okay,
the
it's been 10
picture that
months.
everybody does of the 9 months in, the 9 months out. For the love of baby Jesus, every time I
looked
see
like I was still
pictures
7 months pregnant.
Yes. And I remember sucking my belly in. I was like, suck that baby. Suck it.
All the cellulite like flushing out of the shorts, like, or the clothing didn't even fit. It wasn't even the same clothing. Like, so
delusion.
It's just so insane. At my 1 year mark, I remember thinking I need to do something mental. Like I need to shift my state, or I'm going to be struggling with this for years to come, because it's not really about what I look like, really. It's about my mental capacity to embrace who I am and to find my value in what I look like, regardless of what society tells me that I should be looking like. To make it a long story short, I started feeling like myself. And I say feeling like myself because it's not really a look. My skin was always saggier. My belly was always hanging lower. My boobs were hanging lower. But I felt amazing, and I wore the same size as before birth, 3.5 years later, 3 years later. So when my daughter turned 3 on June of this year, 2023, she was born in June 2020. I finally was able to fit into a size 4 and, feel beautiful wearing anything and wear bikinis without being over, just cautious and in my head about about the saggy skin that was on top, because my belly button was no longer the same. Because for whatever reason, my belly button is where I get stretch marks. Does that happen to anybody else? Like,
no, I got stretch marks on my boobs.
That's true. I've heard of this too. My husband just realized the other day, like literally like last week, that he has some stretch marks under his arm.
Yeah, that's common on it. And doesn't he not have it on his back because he's really tall?
No,
he should like a lot of tall people have it like on their backs.
Yeah, my brother has it on the back, but my husband has it under his arm, and he found out the other day. And I love men for this, by the way. And maybe it's just the way they're wired or the way they're made, right? The way we treat men. But he was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this. He's 38. He's like, oh my God, have you seen this? And I was like, yeah, it's always been there. He's like, oh, this is so crazy. I've never seen it. And then
I was going to say, I feel like I've seen that.
Yeah. But then he put his arm down, and that was the end of it. Nobody has ever, that was it. And I promise you, he's not losing sleep. He's not sitting there trying to find a cream to take it away. He's not trying to get his arms back.
Yeah.
It was just a realization. Like the first white hair he found, my first white hair, I was like, oh my God, his first white hair, he's like, oh, look, I'm going to be like a salt and pepper, I love it.
Salt and pepper.
I wish more of us were like that, So if you're a mom going through any kind of motion in your body right now where it feels like I'm never going to be able to love this, I'm never going to go back to anything, chances are you're not going to go back. But my God, do you really want to go back to the insecurities of your teenage years, to the over obsessiveness on your body of your early 20s, to the over critical ways of your mid 20s and early 30s? Like, no.
And pass on the opportunity to call your body the mom bod. Like,
I mean the MILF bod. Here's what happens when you start embracing your body, and you actually like gain some time back, because that's what it is. Like when my daughter became 3, I started getting a little bit more freedom, a little bit more like, okay, she can play on her own. I have a little bit more time. Oh, I can put yoga and she will do it with me. I can make healthier meals and she'll entertain eating a salad. And all of a sudden, my body, I started de-stressing about all these things, right? That were not pertinent because I wasn't the only life source for this tiny human. I started detaching from this human and I started gaining space, time, concentration, clarity for me. Yeah. And then I started resurfacing and it was not the same, but honestly, I think I looked and I definitely felt better this year before I got pregnant. Again, it's like I got hot for a month and then I got pregnant. But I honestly felt better than I ever felt before. I feel stronger. Things like my body just had a different shape. I think I got like an extra curvature on my hips that I was like, ooh, I'm here for this, So I don't know. I'm just trying to say that it sucks so much that we have to go through so many ups and downs in this lonely ass journey of feeling like we're worthless because we don't look a certain way. But if we flip the coin and concentrate on the inner journey, I think eventually on the other side, we always come out winning.
Yeah. For me, like the switch was like prioritizing me, even if it was just for like a 30-minute, like the moment I started prioritizing me for like 30 minutes a day, I actually started, taking care of, my hair, my face, like actually eating healthy and looking at what I was eating instead of not just eating whatever and focusing on everyone else. And that was when my switch sort of came and I started looking at myself more like, appreciating me, and rather than, looking at defects and all of the things that were wrong. And then, then I started looking after me and doing, actually yoga. I do 10 minutes of yoga a day, it's great just to get my body moving. And that's all I really want. I just want some movement a day. And all of this to say that don't get me wrong, like, yes, it was just a switch in the mind, but I do still go back to be like, oh my God, look at me. Look, I can't even think of my mum bod and things like that. And it's just a journey. It's just like you have to keep like sort of reminding yourself this, like, it's a journey and you're going to get there, and, being kind to yourself. Like that's something I have to remind myself every single day, to be kind to me, because it's so
wild.
It's so easy.
It's so crazy because we would never be this harsh to our kids. We would never tell our kids that they're not looking great or like you're eating shit. Stop doing that. Like we would never talk like this to our children, but it's okay to do it to ourselves. And I think that's the whole point of a mom brand, is that, unlike before where I feel like you needed to have a certain level of expertise in order to be able to develop a business. In today's world, you can actually make the journey the business and use the journey as a stepping stone and as an inspiration to catapult you and a million other people into a better place, right? And I think there's something really powerful in that. So if you're a brand new mom or just a seasoned mom who's going through the crazy season, a crazy change, whatever, just know that there are a lot of possibilities out there and that your life doesn't have to be miserable. You do not have to like settle for the 9 to 5. You do not have to settle for feeling crap in your body or feeling like you need to meet some standards. You can use whatever you're going through. Find your people, because there's a lot of us out here going through the same. We guarantee you. And develop a mom brand, make a life out of that, and start switching things, you know? If you'd like to learn more about how to develop a mom brand, we encourage you to visit our blog at travelfamilyacademy.com/blog. We have a lot of blogs on it. We talk about all of this and many, many other subjects. But we'll be talking a lot more on this subject and all things motherhood on this podcast, Who Let the Moms Out. We'll be here once a week. And we want to thank you for taking the time to tune in and chat with us today. And we will talk to you next week.
Bye. Have a good week.